What is going on, Colts Nation? Here's Jamal, and I am Eric, your co-host of the Colts Cast.
Yo, yo.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's my favorite episode, Jamal.
No, I know it is.
Mock Draft 2.0. Post free agency. I mean, I guess we're technically still in free agency, but the brunt of the free agents have been signed. They're wherever they want to be. Ballard made some big signings over the last couple weeks, something we've never seen him do. But like Jamal said, when your back's against the wall, you start doing some crazy things. But here we are, another 3-round mock draft coming at you. Jamal, I like this mock draft. I like all of our mock drafts.
Yeah.
But I like this one.
Yeah.
Especially considering the players we just added.
I agree. I think we like to bring, fun mock drafts and ones that are actually feasible for the organization. So I do agree with these names we have in there today. I do like this one. Before we get started though, Eric, I just want to give a shout out. I was down in Dallas this past week for a wedding, and I was at a bar. I met a listener named Justin. So a listener of the pod. So that was pretty dope to get a chance to meet somebody all the way in Dallas, man. That's crazy. So shout out
to crazy.
Yeah, shout out to all the listeners out there, man. That was pretty dope experience. So but without further ado, we're gonna jump into it because, like Eric said, we got some good names in this thing. But before we do, y'all know the drill. Hit that like and subscribe button, drop a comment below. Let us know how you feel about this mock draft. Anybody you would like, somebody you would change. I think some people may have some shaky feelings about our round one just because we know, you know how it gets. But let's talk about it, man. Let's have a good time.
2025 NFL mock draft for the Indianapolis Colts 2.0 post free agency. Who we got, Jamal, in round one? I gotta know.
Round one, Jahid Campbell.
Jahid Campbell, linebacker, Alabama. So
yeah, sorry, I said Jahid. My fault. Jahid. I don't know. I dropped. I changed the A to an E. That's on me.
And for this mock draft, we had Tyler Warren going before 14. So I know that's kind of shoe-in fit for a lot of people. We had him in one of our mocks, but in this one, I ran a couple mocks we did, and Tyler Warren just wasn't there. So we have to live under the scenario that Tyler Warren may not be there. But let's talk about Campbell himself. Jamal, I can't remember a time where the Colts had a true off-ball linebacker. It's been quite some time. So I think versatility is the name of his game when it comes to Campbell. So about 6'3", 235 pounds. Pretty good size. He can explode off the line as a pass rusher. He can make open tackles, with ease. And he also excels in coverage, which, I love seeing in a linebacker. Just with Lou Anarumo coming in, I could see him in a multitude of alignments in this defense. Just being that good in multiple areas as a linebacker is rare. And the Indianapolis Colts may finally be able to replace the ghost of Shaq Leonard with Campbell here. So I don't think there's a way that anybody can be mad at this pick. We know linebacker is still a need. I just think if Warren's gone by 14, we like Campbell at 14 regardless. I think you take him with no regrets. You get your Swiss Army knife and you move on.
Fully agreed. I mean, I can't add much to that. That was crisp. Like you said, athletic freak. I mean, this kid, he was down in IMG with Pepper Johnson. Some of you guys may not know him, but he's a 2-time Super Bowl winner with Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells and those guys. So he got some time. Even when he was in high school, getting trained by ex-NFL players. So that kind of just added boost him up by the time he got to the college game. And one thing, I know you talked about Lou and you kind of end that in that ghost of Shaq Leonard. As we know, he can kind of line up in this edge spot too in blitz. Lou, I think he was around like 22% blitz rate for him this past couple of years, which is a little bit down, but some of that's probably contributed to the fact that, Cincinnati had a lot of personnel changes on defense, but that 30% on third down, he blitzes a lot on third down. Campbell is a dog when it comes to getting to the backfield and whenever he gets the opportunity to blitz. So could we see Lou bump that back up with a guy like him back there? I really think he could. And we don't really know where this linebacker core stands so much in Indy. We still have EJ, who's a free agent, is getting a chance to look around and see what's going on. I think that Campbell is just an immediate fit no matter what happens that comes in there. We lost Grant Stewart. Obviously, I know Grant wasn't a starter, but again, that's just another dog we had on the squad. Campbell comes in immediately, makes a difference for us. You had a freak athlete who can do it all, who won't complain about what he does to do.
Yeah, I like that you brought we got a day one impact player right there, especially with Ballard. He has to make results here, but also, yeah, I could see him just blitzing, shedding through those linemen, slicing through them. We've seen it on the tape. Campbell is that dude, we think. And at 14, we take a linebacker.
Love it,
man. Second round. What are we doing here?
Second round. Hey, listen, this is where I always get excited because these guys are they're my favorite. We're gonna take a lineman in the second round. Mr. Donovan Jackson. He played some tackle at Ohio State. Also played some guard. He had to step in, of course, due to injuries. And that's a player who stepped in and he figured it out real quick. He figured out quickly how to get in there and command his spot. You're talking about a guy who has great footwork, great at combo blocking, great scooping ability, whether he's playing a guard or tackle spot to work his way up from the first level to get to the second level, can keep his head on a swivel. That's what we need to see in a player because we need him at guard. Obviously, we did lose Will Fries here, but he has the ability to play that swing lineman position. We can bump him anywhere we need to. So that's again a Swiss Army knife as far as it goes for the offensive line. We can take somebody like that who's a stud who has plenty of time to learn at that left tackle spot, but he also can bump down into us and play that guard. So I'm excited for somebody like himself who can really come in as a big presence, a big dude. I forgot exactly his measurements. So I think he's like 6'4",
6'4", yeah.
Yeah. That's a chunk of meat right there, man. That's somebody else we need on this offensive line because with Tony Sperano right there, I know not only will Sperano teach him the ways, but with his offensive line, there's such a well-oiled group when everybody's out there that I know that you can get an opportunity to help boost him up, build his confidence up, because we're not talking about an offensive line that's going to be starting completely from scratch. Obviously, I know we lost Ryan Kelly. Obviously, I know Will Fries is gone, but Will Fries wasn't there for the entire season last year. So for what it's worth there, where we stand right now, I feel very confident that someone like Jackson could come right in, get in with this group, learn and understand the game at a fairly quick way and help us and help dominate, get this O-line back to where it needs to be.
Yeah, and I think we can't rule out the idea of taking a lineman in the first round. Like I could very well see Chris Ballard doing that, especially with the pieces he added and with the departure of Will Fries. Maybe he wanted a cheaper alternative in the draft. Maybe he saw something. We'll see. But it's hard to imagine that Ballard doesn't just keep helping Richardson or Daniel Jones out here in the second round. I think the theme of one of our mock drafts were just like insane size athletic freaks. I think one of the commenters said the Monstars. So I think this theme, like you were saying, Jamal, I mean, this is the versatility of the Swiss Army knife mock draft. You're getting a guy that's going to replace Fries on day one. Good size, good length. He'll be able to match those long defensive linemen. Great athlete. He's a smart player. He's scheme versatile. Like really exceptional at pulling. Quentin Nelson is a beast at that too. So, he can hit the left side if he's playing right guard. I just like this guy. And, a lot of people will say lineman's a boring pick. But, man, those boring picks, a lot of times it ends up being the smartest pick. Q in Quentin Nelson. What was it? Pick 6? First round? Yep. So this guy stepped in, like you said, Jamal, at left tackle, went crazy when Josh Simmons went down for Ohio State. It's hard to switch out of your natural spot at guard. Like that's not the easiest thing to do. But Donovan Jackson against Texas last year in 38 pass pro snaps at left tackle, 0 pressure, 0 hurries, 0 QB hits, and 0 sacks allowed. I mean, just stepping in at left tackle and being able to just dominate. I just think that is amazing. You get a day one starter in the second round. I don't even know if he's going to be there for that pick, but he was for us. And you get a day one starter at right guard. Doesn't have that tantalizing upside that you're usually chasing in a lot of these prospects, but you keep the stout offensive line intact for Richardson or Jones, and it's another building block because Ballard needs to win now.
Yeah, and just two things I want to touch on that you mentioned because I think they're great points. For starters, yeah, if Ballard were to pick an offensive lineman in the first round, I would not be upset at all. I'd be fairly happy about it. You wouldn't hear me complain about that one bit. So just to be clear on that. And second off, I know you mentioned, like you said, it's not one of those flashy picks, but it's a smart pick. Sometimes I think people forget that the offensive lineman has to be that group, and especially the center, but those 5 people have to be some of the smartest ones on the field because they have to know their role. They have to know the quarterback's role. They have to know the linebacker, the running backs roles. They have to know the defense linemen as well as the linebackers to understand these stunts and everything. Because a lot of times these guys are calling protections. I know we've been spoiled by the Andrew Lucks and the Paytons who can call their own protections and all that stuff. But Ryan Kelly's job when he was a center for every other quarterback, he's calling these protections out to the quarterback. So they can then make the adjustments. And this is the same thing in college too. Majority of these linemen, they're the ones calling out the protections to help to let them know, hey, we're sliding this, we're going that way. And the quarterback's job is to react to that. Very few quarterbacks are out there doing their jobs to the maximum. So I think people don't give the lineman enough credit when it comes to that because it's a very I don't know, physical job, obviously, but then it's a mental job as well because they have a lot to do. So having someone like you mentioned who has the versatility to switch from guard to tackle, and then learn like just how you're dealing with a completely different technique of a player that's on the outside of you now instead of being maybe in the inside of you or shading to the left or the right. I think it's a completely different realm. So yeah, you bring in someone like him, he can really just come in there, dominate, and it shows versatility already, and it only gets better. And again, it brings the line group up as well. So
Yeah, they're the unsung heroes, man. I always say quarterback is the most important position in all sports, definitely in football and the NFL, but position group, it's got to be offensive line.
yeah,
Just as a unit. I'm always going to take, I think anyone will say that they'll take the better quarterback prospect over maybe a lineman because they're only one piece of the puzzle. But
sure,
if you get your quarterback that you can build around and that's your guy, it's so much different. But yeah,
absolutely.
we like Donovan Jackson here in the second round. And in the third round, Jamal, who we got?
We're gonna make people happy because it's a big tight end group. So we're gonna go ahead and pick up Mason Taylor, tight end from LSU.
Yeah.
The son of Jason Taylor. Some of you guys remember him from the Dolphins,
Oh,
wrecking
yeah.
it for years down there at the Dolphins. Mason Taylor, I think this would be a great pickup. We're talking about somebody who he didn't put the flashy numbers that we saw from the Tyler Warrens and these guys. However, consistency is key. I mean, he only had like 2 touchdowns this year, but he's averaging like 9.9 yards a catch, which is pretty solid. Great hands, has the ability to get behind the linebackers to make that catch. He's almost and do not get mad at me, people, but the way I'm kind of explaining to him is kind of like that. He's a bigger Josh Downs. I'm not saying he is Josh Downs, but his ability to get behind the linebackers but stay in front of the safeties and break away from a play. He's not as elusive as Josh Downs, obviously. He's not as fast as him, obviously. But the point is I'm trying to make is if you watch Josh Downs be able to get behind the linebackers but still stay in front of the safeties and find those soft spots in defense, that's what someone like Mason Taylor can do, which is pretty solid for us. That's what we would need because we talk about how our tight end group has kind of been obsolete when it comes to getting into open space. So that's somebody who can come in and make an impact for a day, for a late pick for us in the third round, and really just continue to get better at his blocking because he's a pretty decent run blocker, decent pass blocker. Those things you can work on and continue to get better with as well. So I really think that he is a package where he's not a flashy one, but you're getting a solid player who has gonna have the physical attributes you want. Again, that Ballard cares about, and somebody who can come in there and hopefully finally be that little missing piece to this group that's just kind of been in limbo for the past couple of years.
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly. I mean, this guy, it's hard to have really great numbers when you were playing behind the league neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. the year before, but he did end up having career highs this last season once they stepped into the NFL. So I would say your trajectory is going up when you can do that. But yeah, you have to upgrade the tight end room here. If you're not going to make a move in free agency, I think you look in the draft and like you said, Jamal, really great hands. He's a fluid mover, can be that reliable option for Richardson. He just seems like a smart football player who understands coverage, like you said, finds those open spots in the zone. I like his contested catch game. I feel like he's strong. He's been there on those game-winning drives for LSU. So you like to see that when the lights are shining the brightest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I like this pick in a deep tight end class that some people say. I think when you talk about his blocking, he probably doesn't fit your traditional inline wide tight end.
Mhm.
His I would say his blocking likes a little polish, but he's your F tight end. He's the guy that's going to be moved around. He's the guy that's going to be lined up in the slot, wide receiver. It doesn't matter. He's versatile. Again, talk about versatility, and he's going to make plays in the passing game. Something that needs an obvious upgrade in 2025 for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, fully agree. Fully agree. So drop your comments below, y'all. Let us know what y'all think. Maybe somebody you would change. Maybe you really agree with what we got going on. If you haven't seen some of these players, go check them out. I like Eric said, I think this was a really solid one and one that I would not be the least bit upset about if we followed it to the T.
Nope, not at all. We get Geod Campbell, linebacker, Alabama, Donovan Jackson, interior offensive lineman at Ohio State, and we get Mason Taylor, tight end, LSU. That's our 3-round mock draft 2.0 post free agency. Over the next 5 or 6 weeks, man, that this might be our last mock draft. We'll probably do one final one, but this, we've actually, I don't know, Jamal. I might eat up 2 or 3 more.
Yeah, Eric can't resist him. He can do one every other day if you let him.
Yeah, I love
Nah, they're fun, though. They're
draft
fun.
time. So just analyzing these players, seeing who can be solid additions to the Indianapolis Colts. But yeah, like Jamal said, let us know what you think in the comments. We'd love to hear what you all have to say in the Colts community. That's going to be it for us, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Colts Cast. We're live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or any platform you use to listen to podcasts. And we'll be back next time to give you some more Indianapolis Colts content.
Take it easy.